Hey everyone, in today's session we're going to go through the classic shoulder doorway stretch, and we're going to take some of the FRC and Kinstretch principles and apply it to that specific shape. It's going to do a lot more for our stretching just than passive work, so we're going to get right down into it. I do want to hit our CARS routine first, and again, this is probably the most critical thing we can be doing every day, putting that money in the bank as far as law of marginal gains go. So make sure you're doing your CARS routine. We'll do just a few to start. Starting with our shoulder blade, we're going to do these in two different positions. I want us to externally rotate our shoulder blade our shoulder first, and then we'll pull our shoulder blade back, up, press it forward, and then drive it down towards our hip. And as we're doing that, the position of our shoulder shouldn't change. The rotational position of our shoulder should not change. I'm going to do 3 in this position, and then I'll do 3 more in reverse. Again, notice my arm is staying totally straight. I'm not getting any movement out of my spine, just isolating that scapula as much as I can. I did one arm at a time. You can do both if that's easier for you. The other variation we're going to go is internal rotation. So our ability to move a joint, especially in the isolated sense, helps develop our cortical map. And the more varieties of ways that we find to move a specific joint, right, the environment that joint is in, the more dense our cortical map becomes, the better we become at moving, the more potential options we have to move. So I did this one in external rotation. I moved my scap. I don't exclusively move my scap when I'm in external rotation, so we're going to do another one in internal rotation. Sort of end range shoulder rotation and moving our shoulder blade. So internally rotated, I'm going to do both arms this time. And same thing, shoulder blades back, up, forward, and down. And you'll notice, maybe it's a little bit choppier, maybe it's a little bit harder to move. All that information is telling you is that your brain understands how to move your scapula differently when your shoulders are in this position. Again, valuable information. Okay, that's 3 reps for my scapula in each direction, externally and internally with my shoulder. Let's do shoulder capsule CARS next. I'm going to use my doorway for this one. I'm just going to put my elbow and my arm up against my doorway, in this case a squat rack, and I'm going to go through my shoulder capsule CARS. This is a great form of feedback because this is going to help me better isolate rotation of my humerus. So I get really, really good feedback by keeping my elbow up against the post. I'm going to take my other hand and kind of press it on top of my scapula just to make sure that I'm not getting any sort of compensation from my shoulder blade. So again, we should just see nice smooth rotation forward and back. Get about 10 on this side. Just going as far as you can externally and as far as you can internally. I'm going to do my other one facing this way so you get a better vantage of the actual rotation. My shoulder blade is going to be kind of resting. It's not pulled all the way down, it's not pulled all the way up, it's just kind of hanging out in this position. But whatever position it starts in, it's going to stay there. So no movement. That's where that hand on top of your shoulder can come in handy. Sorry for that potential pun. Again, rotating internally and externally, really trying to isolate that humerus rotation of the shoulder exclusively. For me, I find a pretty significant difference on my right and left. My right side is a lot smoother with a lot more range. My left side's a lot choppier. And again, that's just telling me that I need to practice more and give my left shoulder a little more neurological stimulus, a little more information on how to move. Those capsule CARS are really insightful because that's fundamental motion of our shoulder. That's us saying, what do you got? How much can you move? How much can you move? And that rotation really translates quite nicely to our shoulder CAR because in order for us to get into our end range, we have to see rotation of that joint, which is what we're going to do next. We'll do shoulder CARS next. Externally rotate. You're going to sweep, leading with your pinky, that arm all the way across your midline. You're going to bring it up. Bicep is going to float past your ear. Then if you watch, I'm going to spin. I'm not going to lead with my hand. I'm going to lead with my elbow. So I'm rotating that. And as I rotate, I'm reaching as far as I can behind me. I finish palm out, thumb back. do one more. Then we'll switch sides. Arm comes all the way up and across. I rotate around, palm out, thumb back. Trying to resist the urge to rotate my torso as I do this, right? Everything's nice and still. A stoic body position as I just slowly and in a controlled manner move through that end range of motion. And if you're watching very closely, you can see the difference right side and left side on me. Okay, that's our CARS routine. Do that every day, especially if you have some shoulder stuff, especially if this stuff is really tight. Let's get down into our joint-specific doorway stretching. So to start, we want to make sure that we are in a position where we're targeting the right stuff. In most cases, we're doing this doorway stretch to create length through the front side of our body. And so in order for us to better target that tissue, I want you to set up with your hand up against the doorway. I'm going to be facing you just so you can see. It doesn't necessarily matter which way I set up. So I have my hand against my doorway, and I'm going to take if my left arm is up, I'm going to take my left foot and step forward. And that right out of the gate is going to bring my pec or my chest in front of my elbow. So right out of the gate, I get a really good stretch. The next step I want us to do is make sure that our shoulder blade is not elevating, because that's going to try and pull this stretch away. We want to keep that stuff in a rested position. If you really need to, like for me on this side, I have to pull my scapula down a little bit, just so it doesn't slowly creep its way up. From here, if I wanted to go a step further, I could start to rotate away from that arm. As much as feels good, I'm going to stay pretty much neutral as I lean forward. So this is a passive stretch. We're all familiar with this doorway stretch. It feels really good if we can do it on both sides, but one side is typically pretty good because we're going to target some really specific stuff. The two pails and rails I'd like us to do, one is for external rotation and one is for shoulder adduction. So that means same position, but two very distinct inputs, two very different ways of trying to move our shoulder. The first one is going to help address our fundamental motion. So if you lack external rotation, that means kind of everything forward is going to be pretty perpetually tight feeling. So our external rotation, pails and rails, I want us to start by keeping our elbow nice and light against the doorway and just pressing our hand through that door. If the door wasn't here, I would be doing internal rotation. I'd be rotating my arm forward. So take a big deep breath and just press that hand through that doorway. Again, nothing else is moving. Your scapula is pulled down. Just getting good, consistent breathing in. Doesn't have to be super intense. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Same position. Let's do a rails contraction now. We're going to take all that tissue and lengthen it even further by shortening the backside of that joint. So I'm going to pull my hand away from the structure now. I'm just reaching back. Keep on going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. I'm going to do that set again. Try and stay in that position. This time I'm going to do it from a different vantage point so y'all can see. Okay, so same position, same exact movement. Press that hand forward into the doorway. If that feels okay, you can add a little bit more intensity this time. 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. 1. Now pull that hand away. Externally rotate the shoulder. No shifting out of our torso or scapula. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Very nice. That's shoulder external rotation. Let's do shoulder adduction. So now we're going to be taking our elbow and our hand and pressing it into the post, like I'm trying to pull that arm in front of me. So big deep breath. Same position with our torso, still stretching the same stuff, just different intention this time. And push, elbow and hand through that doorway. 10, 9, 8, 7, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Same position, now pull that whole arm away. You're trying to squeeze that shoulder back. However far you get forward, if you want to take a step forward, position yourself to where it's going to be pretty hard to pull that arm away. This is where that rotation will come in handy. If you're rotating to the right and pulling your left arm away, you should feel a lot of that posterior shoulder working super hard, the back side of your shoulder. One more time, press your hand in. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly relax. 1, pull that arm straight back. Woo! 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. We'll slowly move our arm out of that position. We're going to go into a straight arm position. So I'm going to kind of just lean against the doorway here. Or in this case, I'm going to grab it. Now in this position, we're going to keep our arm in a fixed position. So my bicep is forward. I'm not internally nor too externally rotated. I'm kind of just in between. From here, we're going to practice our scapular cars. Up, back, down, and out. Notice now that my movement, because I'm elevating and depressing, I don't get any shift out of my body, but as I retract or I pull my shoulder blade together, my shoulder blade's traveling towards my spine, and as I protract, my shoulder blade's wrapping away from my spine around my rib cage. That's where you'll see my torso kind of glide side to side. That's a really specific way to do a closed chain scapular car. So again, no rotation out of our shoulder, just trying to get that scap to move as much as we can in a fixed shoulder position. Good job. Okay, we'll do the whole other side now. This one's going to be a little bit faster, so we can kind of stay on pace. I'm going to do this one facing this way, so I can stay in the shot here. All right, shoulder external rotation pails first. Let's make sure our setup is correct. Hand on the doorway. I step forward with my right foot since my right arm is up. I can rotate away. Doesn't necessarily have to happen. I'm going to pull my shoulder blade into kind of a resting position. For me, I like to be a little bit more intentional because my shoulder blades like to compensate on this stuff. Take a big deep breath and press that hand forward into that doorway. Push. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Pull that hand away from that doorway now. Elbow is still, hand reaches back. 10, 9, this is what 15 years of baseball does to your shoulder. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, big deep breath. If that felt okay, you can add a little bit more intensity. If your hand was all the way back here like mine, you could adjust that by adding a yoga block to the mix. That makes it significantly more fun. Big deep breath and push. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, just external rotation, just your hand pressing forward. 3, 2, 1. Pull that hand away. If you have that yoga block, bring it with you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Woo, gnarly. Same position. We'll go right through into shoulder adduction. Big deep breath. Elbow and hand pressing into the post, kind of at equal intensities. We want this to be nice and evenly distributed through that forearm. Hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Pull that arm away. If you need to, you can step forward and rotate away so that arm is just barely floating off of the post. 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Big deep breath and push in. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Pull that full arm away again. 10. Squeeze the back of that shoulder, shoulder blade towards the spine, elbow behind the shoulder. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Woof. I'm going to step to the side and keep my arm nice and straight as I now practice my scapular cars again. I'll do these ones facing this way. You guys should still be able to see me. Again, bicep is facing forward, shoulder blade up towards the spine, down towards the hip, and it's going to press away and wrap around. Try not to let that shoulder blade elevate. That scap is staying low and around the rib cage. Then it comes up, back, down, and out to the side, up, back, down, and out. Woof, harder on this side. Good information. Once you've done a few in each direction, that is it, y'all. That is one of the more effective ways we can use a doorway to help stretch those shoulders, improve our external rotation, improve our shoulder adduction, and get rid of some of that tight chest feeling. I hope y'all enjoy. Make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel for more videos, and I will see you guys next time.